All right, so let's kind of dive into the content, what we are talking about today. So, like, what is a SIM? And maybe I don't know if we want to throw a poll in here or just ask people maybe in the Q&A. I don't know if we have the chat going to that they can
We do.
respond in, but does anybody have compliance needs or has even heard of SIM? Like,
Mm,
you know, how
where are my HIPAA folks at?
Do they so you have hippo folks? No, sorry.
Not us.
uh,
Now you said SIM or SIEM? And I've
well,
heard
I'm a sim, but there's also seam. So, like, I'm not gonna go fight, that is not a hill I need to go die on, is what I will say. Um, there are some people where it is important, like GIF or GIF, as an animated thing.
right.
But, the key thing is, like, what is it? It's this It it collects logs, like, it's an acronym, Security Information Event Management, it shows, but the key part is understanding that it is really this ability to grab logs from multiple platforms, and, Chris, you wanna talk why that comes important into something like HIPAA or maybe some of the other compliance frameworks?
Yeah, absolutely. So just using going back to HIPAA as an example, there's a requirement that there is centralized logging. This isn't one of those, they talk about required versus addressed. That one, they're pretty boom, you got to have it. And what ends up happening is when you have logs in different places. So you have firewall logs, you have Windows event logs, you have, uh, I don't know, access control logs, people badging into your office. What ends up happening is each of these logs may capture a single event that by itself, not a terrible thing. Ethan walks into the office. Uh, that's not a big deal. He has a badge. He's allowed. But when I see that, Ethan's logging in from a country that I know Ethan's not in, or the time or lining up these things that there was a successful login, but there was also a connection from overseas that I may get from our firewalls. Putting those things together to get a more complete picture and getting all our logs in one place is the first part of that is to get that context.
Yeah, and really the key part about that is that getting that reporting right, where you're retrieving
Right.
data during an audit or whether that is a compliance audit, right? Or during an incident, like, there's different parts of when you're going to need that. Um, and obviously, maybe this isn't obvious, like, you need to understand how long you need to retain those security logs. So, Huntress, in our solution, we have a couple different options. Our default is 1 year of keeping logs with what we call 30 days hot searchable, which means that you can go quickly into our platform, search in a 30-day period. We have an ability to do extended searches as well, but, like, that's our default. But there's also needs for longer retention depending once again on compliance. Um, and I think this is where it becomes really important to be talking to your partner like Choice Solutions about what are your compliance needs, right? Because, like, compliance, just like security is not a destination, compliance is not a one size fits all for us, right? Do you want to talk a
Right.
little bit about that and how you
Yeah,
help navigate that?
absolutely. One of the things that we are really excited about at Choice is we're Choice Solutions. We're not here to just shovel a tool. We want to make sure that you have a solution that fits your operation, your vertical, and then any requirement, regulatory or compliance requirements that you may have. You may have an internal requirement that says, "Hey, we keep our records for 5 years or whatever that may be." So having that option, having that available, is a big piece of that. But then again, the ability to scale. Um, a SIM has to be able to support either a large enterprise, but at the same time, can we also support the small and medium enterprise, which is where we are really excited to work. These are the folks who, I can't go out and I don't need the Lamborghini cost for my security, but I still have the same compliance requirements. I still have the same regulatory requirements as these Fortune 100 companies. How do I get that level of support? And that's where a tool like ContraSim can come into play is meeting that compliance need at your level, your scale.
And the other thing that really it comes for, and so that's I totally agree with you that compliance is key. But the second part is like where it comes into the platform is actually in helping you respond earlier and sooner in the attack chain. So at Huntress, we have this concept we talk about an attack chain of where a threat actor gets into an environment. And in that chain of trying to respond, like minutes do matter. Like how quickly you can see something. If you're not aware of what Huntress does, we are a managed security platform. Part of it is we have a 24 by 7 SOC team who not only is looking at our EDR solution, data and our endpoint detection and response, sorry for acronyms, but that security operations center, that team is looking at alerts coming in, and SIM becomes this other tool that helps them respond faster and gives them capabilities that without it, they would be blind to. And so what we are seeing, one of the reasons hunters decide to offer this as a product was that security outcomes are improved by adding SIM into a solution. So yes, compliance might say, "Hey, you need this, Chris." But like this is
We're
where we'll talk about today more. Um,
right. Super important to remember compliance doesn't necessarily equal secure, and secure doesn't necessarily equal compliant.
what?
And
Hold
so kind of
on.
what
Are
you
you sure about that?
I checked all the blocks, Ethan, and they still got in. I don't understand. Um, just to re-highlight this, and I know you're about to hop off, is Ethan's absolutely right. We've actually gone into events with Hunters as a partner, and there was still a threat actor with hands-on keyboard in the environment. And so by having the SIM logs available, by having the EDR available, we're able to isolate that environment that much faster, and realizing that we're literally just trying to type faster than a threat actor at some point. So, again, minutes matter, and that response, with the solution is a huge part.